Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I am Michael Gracia, and welcome. Sorry, I just got a message I had to check out. I've got an awesome show today. It is my holiday show, so happy holiday, and whatever you celebrate, I hope it's a great one. I'm a Christmas guy myself. I got a Christmas gift for everybody coming up in a little bit. But before we do that, I wanted to bring on some friends of mine tonight. What I wanted to do for this show, and I thought long and hard, what am I going to do for tonight's show? Well, I thought I'd bring on friends who are doing some really cool stuff that I feel just like what the show is about, promoting everybody who may not be as well known or who just has awesome stuff. I want to bring out to the world. So let's bring them on. I'll have everybody do their own introductions. There's just way too many people tonight, but I will do the Michaels first. And before I bring any of the Michaels on, I want to say happy birthday to Ray Felix, a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show. But we also have another birthday boy here today, and he's going to be the first person I bring on. Say hi to Mike Belcher.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. Let's bring on now Michael Cook.
Hello.
Hello. All right, and now the Izzyverse is
What's up?
Anibal, how you doing?
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
And Tim Jones.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. So I want everyone to introduce yourselves, introduce what you do, tell a little bit about yourselves, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys a little Christmas gift.
I'm concerned.
Go ahead. Let's start with Mike Belcher. We'll start in the top row.
I'm a writer, artist. I do my own book called Man the Mask, which is kind of an old throwback to 70s and 80s comics, back when comics were fun and without too much added things that they really don't need. And yeah, like I said, lifelong comic fan. Just love the genre.
Awesome. Mr. Michael Cook.
Howdy, folks. I'm Michael Cook. I am an animator. I am a voice actor, director, producer, and I am the creator of Chucky Chicken, who is going to be starring in his very first big pilot, Chucky Chicken Films of a Feather, in 2024. We'll talk more about that later.
Awesome. Next, Tim Jones.
Hi guys, I'm Tim Jones, and I am the writer, creator, and artist for the self-syndicated comic strip, Sour Grapes.
Very cool. One of my favorite strips, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Next, Anibal.
Hey, everybody. My name is Anibal Arroyo. I'm an illustrator. I've been doing this, long time. Here's a collection of a lot of the Comic Cons for like nearly the last 20 years that I've been at.
Small flex, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of new projects coming out soon, including one that I debuted yesterday on the Catch the Craze called The Dark Form. Look for that early next year.
Awesome. And we will be doing a special show specifically on that in the new year with your team.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And next up, Izzy.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Izzy. I'm a host of the Izzyverse YouTube channel, where we talk about comics, wrestling, TVs, films, and we're just a nice little plug there. We got the Izzyverse Izzy Awards coming up this December 29th, which Michael Gracia happens to be one of the nominations.
Yes,
so,
please go vote.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, all right.
So,
and I'm
definitely
He's got a day named after himself. Isn't that enough?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Yeah. I'm also.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm also an illustrator. I've been doing this since forever, since the 80s. We'll go that far back, and just like you, Anibal, man, I probably have a little bit more than you.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to compare sizes sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, You know, I just so you guys know, I posted the link to the survey for the Izzyverse Awards, the Izzy Awards, in the comments, so you guys can click on them and vote later. I want to say Merry Christmas to Mike Wilkie, who says Merry Christmas to all. Another
Merry Christmas,
great
Mike.
illustrator. Now, hopefully, everybody can hear because I know I have some sound issues. So I uploaded it directly to StreamYard. I'm going to let you know, occasionally what I like to do is I like to write parody songs about myself. Okay? And they're usually to like Christmas songs. So I did this one. I do not sing well at all. And I am suffering, and not only do I not sing well, I'm in the middle of a sinus infection, which is why
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just roll the film.
So, here is a 50-second video I edited this morning. All right, here we go. I hope my audience stays. And so I am Michael, and look what I do. I draw silly pictures. It's called a cartoon. And so I am Michael. I'm here to make you laugh. It was supposed to be a dog, but now it's a short neck, cross-eyed giraffe. Merry Christmas.
Wow.
You owe a lot more people than in that little disclaimer and apology.
Okay. Okay, Michael, I'll give you a little bit of credit. There was a little bit of some singing chops there. I heard something good there. But what was the deal with the floating egg head?
I just thought it would be funny.
Little editing magic, you know.
Yeah.
Little egg head is going.
You want to know? I'll tell you right now.
The giraffe pooped you.
I edited this in about 30 minutes before I started my day job today.
It shows.
So I didn't want to do a clean cut. I'm not going to sit and clean cut myself out. I just took an ellipse and put it around my head and just made sure my head fit in there. And then I'm like, I think it needs to move. I was going to fade it out a little bit, make it look like an old 70s or early 80s type of
those squash and stretch and all that stuff that's going on.
I didn't want to bounce, but I could have totally.
I gotta commend you, Mike. I gotta commend you on your boldness to look silly no matter what. I respect that, man.
That's an everyday job, man.
That's just him in general. I mean,
yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's just an everyday job for him.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
You got a comment?
For the record, Mike. For the record, I
apology accepted.
I don't forgive you.
That's right. Tim, you were gonna say?
I was just gonna say, for the record, I teared up.
Oh,
yeah, for all the wrong reasons.
So must be something in the air.
In the mail.
By the way, tomorrow that'll be on all my social medias. I'll be posting it in the morning, so you guys feel free to share.
Now we know you won't win the Izzy Award.
You're very brave.
You should go back on my Instagram or my TikToks, and on my Instagram, if you go back a couple of years, I have 2 videos of me in a red shirt behind, in front of my Christmas tree, singing 2 parody songs. I just recently released them on my TikTok, so you may have seen them. One is very ego-based, where I talk about how everybody should look like me. It's called "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Michael," and then I have a beginning of Jingle Bells one that has some actual facts in there about, I guess, life, if you will.
Do you play any instruments, Mike? Like
No, I
ukulele or
can't
something?
play.
You should go
Actually,
all,
I
like
haven't
Weird
used
Al,
it. I'm
you know,
trying
just
to.
go
Right.
all out.
Just
no,
go with the
all out.
kazoo. Just get the kazoo. You know.
I can't find my kazoo. I would have. I actually, you know, and Izzy, I wanna thank you for saying you heard some sing chops. Let me say this. I studied voice for not a long time, but in school I studied voice, that I actually understand how to sing. I know how to breathe, and Michael Cook would understand this from being a voice actor. I understand that. I just make a terrible sound. That's what it is. I
do understand
terrible.
that very well. No,
It's like-
it's tough. So
I breathe properly. It just doesn't come out right.
It's like a bagpipe, you know? Something's coming out. It's just not very good.
I like bagpipe music. Damn it.
I didn't say I didn't. You know.
Anyway, you guys, let's stop talking about me. That was my gift to you and everybody else. And tomorrow,
I'll make sure I give you the same thing next year.
You got
Thank
the receipt.
Start working on it right now.
We'll go individually. I'll start. Since I started on the top row with introduction, we'll start on the bottom row with Izzy and work our way backwards. Izzy, tell us a little bit about your channel, what people can expect, and talk about the Izzy Awards.
Yeah, sure. So my channel, the Izzyverse, which is going to be about a year old in March, has been out now, and really, it's the reason why it's called Izzyverse is it's a play. Of course, it's a play on the multiverse, but the reality of it is that it's everything that I enjoy, which includes comic books, it includes wrestling, it includes TV and film. But more importantly, the goal is to get people to appreciate all the things that have to do with everything I enjoy, especially when it comes to comic books. So I'll say the primary function will always be comic books, but not just comic books in one part, but in multiple layers. For example, investing, or reading books, collecting books, artists, indies. Like Anibal, you were in my chat. You were in my channel a few months ago when we were doing Mocha. Yeah, the Mocha show. So that's part of the agenda there when it comes to the comic book. So we do have Kickstarter shows. We do have a weekly poll list that is every Monday with my friend Josh. We started with Josh a little while beforehand. I used to go on location with it, but it became challenging because of all the editing I had to do. But I do want to do more on the road shows, but I do enjoy the live streams. And then we talk about wrestling on times. Whenever there's a pay-per-view, we'll talk about a pay-per-view. We'll do live reactions. We'll do movie reactions and everything like that. So pretty much it's a multiverse of things that I enjoy. What the Izzy Awards is a nice, fun take on the award ceremony. So all the awards have a catchy title to them, but they all have significant meaning. So, for example, the Golden Ticket Award is for the best movie that came out this year. The FOMO of the Year, well, for anybody who understands FOMO, is an award where it's a comic book that came out that everybody's going crazy to get, right? That kind of award. But there's also some other more meaningful awards, like the Little Engine That Could Award, that goes out to Kickstarters that just hit the mark. Or, the Stretching the Goals Awards. Those are for Kickstarters that went above and beyond the mark. And obviously the Like It or Subscribe Award, and that's the one that Mike was a part of, as well as some other good YouTubers
Don't worry
out there.
about the other. They're good YouTubers out there. Don't worry about them. Just vote for me.
Vote for Michael, right? But that's a great way of getting involved in the community of comics in general, because that's what we're doing. The award in itself means nothing, and there is no prize award towards it. It's just I'll make a certificate. That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a nice little certificate, a nice little shout out for the winners. But really, it's the idea is that especially for those awards, is to get these names out so that people know who they are. They say, hey, who's this person that's nominated for this award, and then you go check out the person. That's the idea behind it, more than anything.
I will say this: I did my voting today, and there are a few people on there I didn't know, so I actually wrote their names down. I plan to look them up because I'm curious
Yeah.
who they are. But
Yeah, you got to check out Comics by the Bay. My boy Comics by the Bay, he's over in Florida. He did a bald challenge where he actually filmed himself shaving his head to help his friend get 1,000 subscribers. You know, you got to give credit to that. And there's another guy. His name is he's over in California. He has the Comic Book Report, and it's really they're shorts. They're like 2-minute videos of reviews of trades and paperbacks, so that you could know what books you could get. So that's the real purpose behind that. And again, it's a fun show. December 29th today. The link is on the description already, and he already put it in the chat. So go ahead. We have about 80 votes in already. And Michael needs some love, guys.
yes,
Gotta give Michael some love, man. But of course, I had to put myself in it as well. So, but I will tell you right now.
How do you do the voting? Did I just miss it? How do you vote? Like, how do
So,
you get on there?
so the link is already on the description. So when you go to the
is it on your
yeah,
YouTube channel or?
it's on this one too. So Michael
yeah,
was kind enough to do it.
I put it in the comments there.
So it's in the
Alright.
comments
Oh, I
already. So you could do the link there. There's a lot of categories. Have fun with it. You know, even if you don't know it, go have fun with it. That's the idea. No one's
I'll
gonna
be
win
honest,
anything
I
in
didn't
particular.
watch any of the movies that are on there, or I did, but I didn't like a lot of them.
Top Gun, man. You didn't watch Top Gun?
I didn't want Top Gun, not yet. I will wait till it's on streaming, and
It is on streaming.
Do I have to pay for it? If I have to pay for it, I'm not watching it yet. That's how I work. I wait till it's on streaming that I pay for it, and it's free. You
Well,
know?
it's definitely worth a watch. It's
Oh, I will. It sounds like it might be the best one on the list anyway.
yeah.
Let's move over to Anibal. Tell us a bit about some of the work. I know we're going to do a show specifically on your new one, but if you want to talk a little bit about that, you're welcome to, or whatever you want to promote tonight.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I'll take it back before I go forward. I am an illustrator, like I mentioned before. My very first self-published solo project was a children's book a couple of years ago. Izzy knows all about that. I promoted it on Mocha last year. And that's still available, by the way, through darkfirepress.com. Everything on here I did myself. I wrote it, I illustrated it, and the whole thing. But my...
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. We are going to do a Dark Fire Press show in the new year. I don't know if it's just going to be JM or if we're going to bring a few of you on. But I'm doing a whole one show devoted to Dark Fire.
Yeah. As I was saying, my real my forte, you could say, is comics. I've been doing comics for a very long time. What Michael was talking about, the project that I'm working on now is actually a commissioned comic book project. It could possibly become a ongoing series. I'm not committed that deep into it, but potentially it could be that. As of now, the first issue is done. We're planning possibly doing a fundraising campaign for it in the spring. So nobody would have to wait. Like I said, the issue's done. It would be like you're pre-ordering it. So, you know what I mean? You get a lot of campaigns that, I'm not going to get into that, but the book is done. The book is ready. I'm waiting on the proof. Once that comes in, it's good to go. And in the meantime, I'm kind of just keeping myself busy working on other projects. I got another creator-owned project that I'm working on. I'm putting together it's kind of, I guess you could say, like an omnibus kind of anthology thing. It's all me. I'm doing maybe 5 or 6 different stories, short stories. The first one I'm doing right now is a horror story. There's no particular theme other than it's my work, and I'm just experimenting with different styles. I'd like to do one all digital, all traditional, a combination of both, and so on and so forth. And I'm actually revisiting some old stories I did years ago and touching them up and including that. So I'm hopefully maybe within the next year I should have that all together. I'll give you guys a quick little sneak peek here.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this the one we were talking about privately?
Yes.
Okay, I got to get back to you on the email. Yeah. We actually,
no
Anibal and I had this thing we set up maybe 2 months ago, I'd say.
Right.
Where we're motivating each other. So we're trying to check in every few weeks to make sure that you're on track with things.
If I'm doing it by myself to myself and I don't have anybody to show it to, I slack. I can admit that I'm gonna not draw. I'm gonna find other things to do, And if I have somebody asking me like, hey, how's it go? I'm going to hold to that. You know, I don't want to be that guy, you know what I mean? That kind of doesn't come through on what he says he's going to do. So absolutely. I totally, you know, that's just my thing. I believe in the whole collaboration and just expanding your creative circle to keep yourself in it, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even with this one, I've taken on more the role of a writer as well. And even down the line, I've got scripts that I've started that I will eventually, you know, due to aging and, you know, other factors of life, I probably will not be able to draw myself. So I would be open to, you know, hiring an artist, you know, some young guy ready to go down the line. So yeah, just I'm like I said, I like to stay busy, I like to stay active, and I love to collaborate, and I'm making sure I'm doing that. And hopefully, you know, if we get to know each other a little better, anybody here would love to collaborate at some point in time, let me know.
Awesome. Let's move on to Tim. One of my favorite comic strips is done by Tim. It's called Sour Grapes. Tell us a little bit about Sour Grapes. And by the way, when I was off screen a few moments ago, I thought I had Tim's books that I had. I was going to hold them up and show you because they're great books. I was just rereading them the other day. I was cleaning off my my bookcase about, I think, last weekend. And I was going through and I found them and I started reading. I stopped and I started reading them. And it's great stuff. So please tell us about it. You're very welcome.
Well, yeah, it's a comic strip. Little different than what everybody else here does, but it's in newspapers across the country. I self-syndicate it. It's in 41 papers now.
Congratulations.
And newest one is in Tennessee. Go figure. And yeah, it's I've been very lucky with it. It's just become really popular. It keeps getting into more and more papers, and you know, I do a lot of Comic Cons throughout the year, and you know, I kind of different, like I said, because you know, Comic Cons, there's a lot of comic book artists there and illustrators, independent and the mainstream stuff. And there's little old me with a comic strip and a cartoonist that draws Hanna-Barbera figures for everybody. But so
yeah, that's new. That's new to your table.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. I got the colored pencils out one day, and just someone challenged me to draw a Scooby-Doo, and it just kind of took off from there. So
yeah,
you know, but so that's a lot of fun. But
well, everyone knows HB is like one of my all-time favorites. I have a whole series of shelves devoted to them.
Oh, cool.
Here in my studio.
So you know, it's going well. I mean, you know, I've got a couple of projects going with it. I don't, every year I try and put out a new book. Book meaning it's a compilation of all the strips that appeared for the year going, and then I'll do something a little special in that book. Like the one I think I gave you, Mike, last time I saw you was the one that just came out. And the main character is Aesop. He's a miserable flying dog, and he has a pet cloud named Ominous, and Ominous has become a fan favorite for some reason. So I decided to do a special book with all the episodes from that involve Ominous, and I also put in all the in the wintertime, Aesop communicates with snowmen. There's a few snowman characters that I do. So the other half of the book is that, and then I did some sketches and put those in there, and voila, I got the new book. So, but next year, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's the actually the anniversary of the 10-year anniversary of Sour Grapes.
Oh wow!
Wow, I didn't realize you were doing it that long.
Congratulations!
Thank you. It's where it really started, and so I might do a big thick book, you know, of everything,
Like an omnibus of your.
Yeah, whatever that means. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know what omnibus means either.
I don't
so,
know
you
what
know.
that means.
So an
I
omnibus.
heard it
Is it
myself.
like a really big
Don't feel
bus
bad,
that
guys.
you
Yes.
ride?
Yeah, it's just a big
So,
book.
so just to let you know, I am working a project on different types of terminology. Omnibus happens to be one of them. It is what I call a wrist breaker because the size of the book is the size of a brick. So that's the idea of
I do
omnibus.
have one I could grab. Hold on.
I
think
see.
That makes sense.
I don't know if you had to buy a
That's
ticket
for like more
that,
established
or...
creators.
I gotta take my headphones off
If
first.
you have
Hold on,
that,
guys.
that much material. Mine will be that thick. Mine will probably be like that.
Well, what will be neat about it, I think, is if you'll see the progression of what it looked like when it started
Yeah.
and to what it looks like now, which is, in my eyes, miles. A lot of characters. If you go on Go Comics, there's a button on there with the double arrows that pointing backwards. So you click on that and you'll see the very first Zits comic strip and stuff, and then it looks completely different. So it might be a neat thing to do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Sounds cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, congratulations on that. That's
Thanks.
you're gonna do something. It's gonna do well. I love your stuff. I just went back over. I have an omnibus. If you guys remember, Tim will know the artist. You remember Roger Phillips, who did the Gray Zone comic? He stopped the comic. It was all about the little gray aliens. I think you might have been on a show with him once before on here.
Oh yeah.
He collected and he has a book like this thick. And I was going to show it, but what's weird is all the books I'm looking for are not on the shelves I thought they were. Like I have your books literally on top of Peanuts books. So as soon as the my Peanuts collection ends, it's your books. And next to the Peanut books are supposed to be Roger's book. Just because of the size, everything just fit nicely on my bookshelf, and they're not there now. So I don't know where they are.
Oh my goodness!
Excuses.
They're supposed. I guess they're on another show. I might have moved them.
Those dwarves, or like bottom, right?
Yeah.
Dopey
Well, speaking of dopey and everything, let's move on to Michael Cook. And, I'm kidding, guys.
Well, I just want to say, hold on. I just want to say real quick, the working title for that omnibus book that I'm using the word now and I can't say it. I think it's going to be constipated compilation.
I love it.
Some alliteration. I think that's what it's going to be.
Like that.
Nothing
like
like
that.
alliteration.
And by the way, before we end on you for a moment, what was I going to say? Where can we find the strip right now?
What do you mean? In what papers?
Where can people read it right now?
Oh, you can see it on Facebook every week. You can see it on Instagram, Sour Grapes 2017. You can see it on Twitter, Sour Grapes Comic. That type of stuff. Online is a website, sourgrapescomic.com. You can see it on there, and all the other stuff that comes with it. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's exactly what
Okay. All right.
Because people need to see all that. I'm hyping up how great this strip is, and people need to know how to find it. So they.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It really is. It honestly is. You and Francis's Suburban Fairy Tales are like two strips I never miss.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
I think I've seen that one.
He was on the show with us, I think, once too. All right, Michael Cook. I apologize for my joke.
I forgive you.
Thank you.
I like long walks on the beach and pina colada. No, I'm kidding. I'm Michael Cook, and I guess right now, like I said, we're working on the Chucky Chicken full-length pilot. I've been doing Chucky Chicken cartoon since 2009. So next year will be his 15th anniversary.
Wow. Congratulations.
That's insane. So Chucky Chicken is a throwback cartoon It's stylized after cartoons from the 1930s as well as the 1990s. And it's kind of like classic Mickey Mouse, Warner Brothers, Hanna-Barbera, all that kind of fun stuff. And we've been working really, really, really hard on this pilot this year. We started last December coming up with ideas for what we wanted to do for this particular story. And we came up with a really fun tribute to classic Hollywood, as well as sort of allowing it to be a story that is about how cartoons are made from the perspective of cartoons in the 30s. So it's very, very cool. We have a lot of very interesting people involved. For example, we have Mike Pollock, who is the voice of Dr. Eggman in the Sonic the Hedgehog series. He's done a lot of anime dubbing. He is the voice of one of our characters, Tommy Turkey. We have a bunch of YouTubers involved with the show. I'm trying to think, like, I don't know if you've heard of any of these guys, but like Some Call Me Johnny, who is a big gamer. He's doing some voices for us. But what's really cool is that we've also been able to get people who've worked in the industry, you know, creating cartoons when I was a kid back in like the 90s. I'm talking Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, you know, back when cartoons were good. So we actually have Tom Ruger, who is the creator of all of those shows, as our production
Actually, he wasn't
consultant.
the creator of Tiny Toons. I will say that because I interviewed him on another podcast I used to be on. He said
Okay.
he wasn't the creator of Tiny Toons, but he did a lot of the work.
Okay.
Like he was the one who I don't want to use the word showrunner, but he kind of did a lot of the writing and stuff. But other people actually created like the characters, I believe. But
Well, I
he is
mean,
the creator
yeah.
of the Animaniacs and
Right.
Freakazoid and those shows. That's his stuff.
Tiny Toons was essentially like baby Looney Tunes, if you really want to like call a spade a spade. But he is. We actually had a meeting with him just a couple days ago. Showed him the animatic of the pilot, and he is making notes and all. So there's a lot of really fun stuff. You can watch Chucky Chicken cartoons on YouTube at Chucky Chicken Cartoons. Gosh, I don't know. I don't like talking about myself.
Well, you are the voice of Chucky, and I just heard Chucky when you said that right there.
I scared Anibal away. I mean,
let me say this, then we'll move on to Mike, because I forgot you sent me the message at the beginning of the show, and he needs to get out by a certain time, so I want to make sure he has time to talk.
Okay.
I have watched some of the earlier animatics, and I've seen some of the earlier scripts. I don't know what's changed since I've seen it, but there were some really laugh out loud moments in there that kind of had very old school Looney Tune feel to it that I liked, and some old classic Disney stuff going on in there. But I don't want to spoil anything.
Are you talking about the bucket?
The bucket. Oh my God, I love the bucket. The bucket scene is that and the bear. But no, is it the gorilla? The gorilla.
Oh yeah.
I hope you kept those two scenes in because they cracked me up so much. I showed it to my wife, and she laughed so hard at both of those scenes. That's how much those need to stay in there.
We kept the bucket scene. We kept it in, so we got it in. Don't worry. So
I love that.
if you guys want, I will show the animatic, and you guys can take a look at it maybe after the show. So I'd love to.
It's at the last time I saw it was at 17 or 20 minutes, something like that. So
it's still at 20 minutes. It actually we added a little bit of time. You'll like it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Yeah,
I'm sure I will. So, let's just move on to Mike so we don't run out of time on him. I apologize. I should have made you go first.
No. You're good. Like I said, being a wacky day, I kind of have to share it with other people. But no, I draw a little action adventure comic just exactly like the books of my youth, Man in the Mask. It's about the guy continuing a little bit of a legacy that his grandfather started. It's it's a little action adventure, but it's also got a little bit of the indie comics that I grew up on in the '80s, a little more personal. It's not always about the big fight. Sometimes the big fight is something that's going on in his life, and exactly what family can do in the good way and family can do in the bad way. But I'm on my 4th issue. Just finished my 4th issue back in July. Work on the 5th one. Do it when I can. Supplement it with commissions.
I want to say, speaking of your commissions, before I get into it, I have read 2 issues that I have. One, I think, was the first issue, Man in the Mask, and then there was, I don't know, you asked me if I wanted to read a specific thing. I don't know if it was a full issue.
I think it was Halloween. I sent you one of my Halloween issues.
And I don't remember what it was, but they were both fantastic. And I'm such a big fan of your style, number one. Number two, the commissions that Mike gets, if you're not following him on social media, he does a lot of like Earth 2 DC stuff. Superman with the gray hair, Robin in the long yellow pants there. And this is the type of stuff I love. Very Silver Agey and stuff. The most recent one that I saw was the Wake, I think you called it, of Batman.
Yeah. That's probably the best picture I think I've ever drawn, and it was a suggestion from one of my commissioners.
My God, it's so amazing.
It was kind of one of those things that was, I guess it was kind of meant to be, because I would have never thought of it on my own, but once it was suggested to me, I put everything into it, and it's probably the best receptive picture I've gotten.
Yeah.
And the commissioner was quite happy with it. That's even the better point of it, is how happy he was with it, because it was, as he put it, I exceeded his, and I don't do that. I mean, I like to think that I try, but I think I hit it on that one. So I'm glad you liked it. Again,
oh my God.
That's I turn it around and fund Man in the Mask with those commissions, and I'm very grateful when someone can support me that way.
Yeah. There's
is that some of your artwork on your wall there, Mike? Sorry.
No, actually, this is the artwork from professional artists I've gotten to know.
Oh, wow.
My stuff I wouldn't put on the wall just because it's like I've got my stuff here that I'm very proud of, and that I've gotten to know some of these guys, and it's more of the personal thing.
That's very cool.
But my stuff's at amkcomics.com, and definitely you can catch me on the Facebook. That's pretty much where I put all the commissions when I get them done.
Cool.
So,
I was actually just going to look up your Instagram.
Yeah.
And Mike, you're on there as Mike W. Belcher.
Yeah, actually, I think they're pretty much all I think Twitter's My W Belcher 1. I think Instagram's My W Belcher. So they're pretty consistent.
I just want to show this piece because to me it's like I just love it. Here it is. So this piece right here is the one I'm talking about. I love how Batmite is down there crying. I'm just going to zoom in.
Now, I had to ask, did you do this around the time that Kevin Conroy passed away, who was the voice of Batman for...
No, actually, this was in the last week.
No kidding.
But I have to admit that was definitely in the back of my head.
Right.
Trying to, because the guy who wanted the picture done, he wanted a wake. He didn't want a funeral. He wanted happy. He wanted tears. He wanted celebration. That's cool. And he had very specifics about who he wanted in the picture. And so I kind of went into it thinking, okay, how would this character, Superman would be telling a funny story to try to lighten everybody's mood.
Right.
And then you have Huntress, which was his daughter, maybe getting one moment to have a little bit of a happiness. And so, like I say, it's called lightning in a bottle. I don't hit it often, but it really, like I said, you'll never hear me brag on my stuff, but I will definitely on this one. I'm pretty proud of what I did with it.
Well, it's a fantastic piece and just
Yeah,
really
it's awesome, man.
wonderfully done.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
There's and by the way, there's a great YouTube channel. I think Mike, you and I talked about this that discusses this death of Batman in the comic. And if you go back and actually watch it, it explains how it's the original Batman. This was the original Batman who is dead, and the new one, or the one that we know, is actually not the original Batman in the comics.
Yeah.
It's this
Oh,
one who
wow.
passed away, and there's a whole thing that explains the story of it. But yeah, this is his work, and I know Tim just sent me a message. He has to get going around 10 as well. But you did something really cool during the month of October with what some people refer to as Promptober. They do Inktober. I couldn't participate as much. I only did like one or two pieces, and I am a big fan of the classic DC heroes, just like you. And you did a month called All-Star Tober. So every day was a different hero from a different, from classic
nice.
DC. And these are some of the oh, you got a what is it, Big Bang right there.
Yeah.
So that's cool stuff. I love Big Bang comics. Dr. Fate, one of my all-time favorites. I love how you have the two different masks there. Like, this is just great stuff.
It is great stuff.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
The All-Star Tober, last year, this was the second year I did it, and the first year I did it, I wanted to do something like Inktober, but I wanted to kind of do my own thing, and so like I said, my artwork and my fandom's pretty much the golden age, and I thought, play on words with and so it was limited to All-Star comics. Any character that appeared in All-Star comics in the 30s or the 40s, and then of course the 70s when they picked it back up. But basically, it was just a theme, And this year's All-Star Tober, I wasn't the only one doing it. I had other people kind of joining along with me, and it was very cool watching, day to day what everybody was coming up with. It was, everybody approached it differently, and it was just awesome seeing so many different voices, so many different ways of approaching. Because generally, when I do pinups, I'm doing a story. I'm not a big action guy. I'm not a guy that really focuses on action. I think personality and sentiment and things like that is kind of what my visual style goes for. But it was interesting watching everybody else's.
Yeah.
And so this year was kind of cool. It was very cool. But it's 31 days of drawing with a full-time job is
I do have.
Yeah.
I will say this, just so you guys know, this is his Man in the Mask character. So you could be aware of that. It's just great. I love this stuff, man. This stuff is great. I actually had someone see your work and thought it was mine. I'm like, no, because there's a slight similarity when I do superheroes, but not like I can tell that, I think anyone could tell the difference in our work. And man, I was like, I was like honored for him to say my work looked like yours. I was like, dude, no, I wish I drew.
I love your stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I was like I don't know. Like I go, this is my issue. I love this era, the golden and silver age, just like you. And but I come from the era of every pose needs to be dynamic. And the thing with the golden and silver age, they weren't always dynamic poses.
No.
And I'm looking at a I don't have it in the room right now. I was looking at it in my living room, but I got a copy of like the Superman Sunday pages that Wayne Boring did.
Oh yeah.
And I love those. And I've been trying to emulate his style a bit. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I'm making him too dynamic.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tone down. I got to get out of the mindset of being so dynamic with that, because your art really invokes that era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is a sense of simplicity to it, which is always great, and that you see that you're still able to tell more with less lines, right?
Yeah.
And
I
which
love
and
that.
the depth that it has, that it still has that depth. Like it's very clear that pumpkin's in front of us with the foreshadow. So that's the kind of stuff that's really cool. And then the proper placement of the shadows, like
But
Dr.
hold on,
Midnighter.
That's your son though doing all the shadows, right? And all the coloring.
The All-Star October, he didn't color. I had to color.
Okay, you did the color.
He finished in college, so he had absolutely no time to color. But usually he colors Man in the Mask. He just colors.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, Izzy. Continue.
No. That was just saying that kind of stuff where you have depth, you have proper placement of shadows. That one, the Frank Miller homage one, I thought was really cool. Seeing a Frank Miller, inspired, Dark Knight Returns image, but with the Golden Age versions of them, which I think is fantastic. I'm surprised that I haven't seen that as often. You know what I mean? It's just like the first time I see someone do that, and it's in this day and age of homages. I'm shocked we haven't seen that. You know what I mean?
And I kind of, when I started this, I kind of told myself that even with Man in the Mask, I'd never do a homage. And this guy asked me for it. He said, "Well, do you know the page in Dark Knight Returns and the Batman, the Robin scene over the top of the city skin?" I said, "Oh yeah, I know that. I know that. It's who doesn't know that? Who's a comic guy?" He said, "Well, what do you think about doing it for her too?" I said, "Well, like the Sprang, the Dick Sprang Batman." He said, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of." And I thought, well, I don't really want to be known as the homage guy, but I couldn't resist it.
Right.
Yeah, I know. And he is, and Dick Sprang's one of my all-time favorite Batman artists.
Yeah,
I love Sprang.
And there's nothing wrong with a homage. It's when it gets overkilled, right? Like how many times do we get to see that Wolverine Hulk homage now? That Todd McFarlane. It's like it's overkill. But when it's done and it's done in what I would say in a tasteful way, not just for a cheap pop. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's when it's cool. Like this makes sense because it's still Batman and Robin, but it's a different era's version of Batman and Robin, which
revival. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's stop the share. Let's bring us all back. Now I know Mike and Tim, you guys got to go in about 10 minutes. Let's move back to Tim. I just want to make sure we get everything in with you. Is there anything you would like to add before you need to go, or share with us, or start a topic of conversation for us?
Well, one of the things I talk about, what's hard about it with a comic strip is I gotta keep it funny. Mm-hmm. That's the thing with it. A lot of the comic books, like all the stuff that you were saying, there's some whimsical stuff to that, but I mean, I've actually got to write a joke for every episodes, and that in and of itself is something I have to deliver on. Mm-hmm. Is every time. So,
but
I just.
And I was going to say, your comic. What I like about your comic is the same thing I like about Garfield. It's 3 panels long. You never go more than 3 panels usually.
I can't.
It's rare.
That far.
What?
I can't think any more than 3 panels.
Yeah, but no, because it's good. I mean, for those who don't know how it goes, it's basically, your 3-act story. Your introduction, your climax, and then since it's a joke, it's a punchline or a setup punchline. It's mm-hmm. the basic. It's the basic thing. As I've been writing The Wiz, I've noticed I've done more 3 panels than 4 panels in my stuff.
Right.
I used to think it was harder to write 3 panels, but I'm finding it easier to write 3 panels now. And you're right though, being funny. Like I showed a strip in the beginning. Was it funny? I don't know. It made me chuckle, so that's how I judge. And if my wife says, "Yeah, it's funny," she doesn't usually laugh at them. But if she says, "Yeah, it's funny," then I know I got something.
I usually throw it out to a few people when I'm not quite sure if it works or not. 9.9 times out of 10 it works.
Yeah.
What level of funny? Everybody has their own level of what makes them laugh.
Right.
Right.
So and being in a position that I'm in, I can't. I used to do stand up, so you can read the room as they say,
Right.
but when you're doing a comic strip, you can't.
Yeah.
So I got to kind of throw it out to a few people and say, hey, you like this and that and whatever, and I'll get good feedback off it and stuff. So so in that respect, it's just again, it's at what level someone will do. Like the one I just did this week, I wish I could give it to you somehow, but
I could get it from your Instagram. Let me go to your Instagram page.
yeah, it's that. Can you find it?
I just gotta search your page.
I haven't put it up on Instagram yet.
You
go
put
to
it up on
Facebook.
Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to your name here.
I really enjoyed the Sonic piece, by the way. That came out really, really well.
The which piece?
The Sonic the Hedgehog piece, was that you or was that somebody else? I saw it on your Facebook, Tim.
No, that was somebody else.
Oh. Well,
Okay, I got
check it out. So okay, never mind.
That's all right.
Well,
okay.
we'll just edit that in post. We don't need that exchange there, Mike.
Hold on, window. There we go. And this is your latest one.
Right. So I'll let you guys read that.
Nice.
So the room is silent. It's okay.
I read it and
I liked it.
Oh,
I thought it was really clever.
All right. So that's Henry. That's one of the snowmen.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that it's thought clouds and not direct, just balloons. So they're talking to each other. So I had a lot of fun with that.
I love how he flies in. I think that's really fun.
There
Yeah,
was
he's
from the
Go
other.
ahead.
I'm sorry. The other was it not this one? It was last week's. I really enjoyed the flying pose that you had. It really I got to find that one. I don't want to show your Facebook, feed. I'll share it out again after. But man, that was a really awesome
thank you.
pose.
I thought I'd get a little out of the left to right kind of look one time, and yeah, that was when he was pulling the sled with I forget which snowman it was, but so thank you. And that was a little tough to draw. I'm not like Mike Belcher where I can do that type of thing. So comic strips are all about the final product, and there's a lot going on in 3 panels. So I gotta play all the roles to get it out.
Yeah.
And my apologies, that Sonic piece was actually from Emily Druin. So
Emily's awesome.
Yes. So
Hold on. And she was on the show once too. You guys can go back and watch her interview.
helping you out.
So this was
there it is.
This was the flying pose that I just in that first panel. I just love the look of this. Everything is just, to me, it's perfect. Great perspective, great foreshortening. Everything just works on it.
I'm gonna start charging you for those sleigh rides. I like that a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, it's another snowman. I'm not sure who that is. That might be Horace. They all start with H's.
I love that.
Really?
So I think so, yeah. But I keep it simple. I don't do anything for the from the ground up. I don't do background colors.
And do you always leave your panel empty in the middle?
Yeah, that's called a ghost panel.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just asking if you.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
because that's Garfield does the same thing. So I was just you.
And I
Really,
also don't put any background at all in the middle panel. So it's also, I call that like a showcase panel.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's good. Your backgrounds are simplistic, but they work. Like they, I mean, you don't even have the act. You don't even see the full trees. I like that we see them cut off on the side.
yeah.
It's.
I was actually criticized for that. Well, I shouldn't. I had a critique a long time ago when someone pointed that out to me, that I used to do stuff like in the middle, whether it was birds or other trees or whatever, and they said that, well, your attention goes straight to that. So you taught me how to just put stuff off to the side, and it kind of works. So
I think it does. I love the characters being in focus. That they're very eye catching. So
oh, thank you. I wanted to concentrate on the exactly the attention to the characters themselves. I feel backgrounds are distracting unless you absolutely need them.
right.
I
agree.
like the breaking of the panel in that first panel with the dog
Yeah.
flying. That's
Oh
very
yeah,
thing they do in comics. That definitely
like
works.
he's
But-
out of the panel. Like he's
Yeah,
floating
but
with you.
what's really good is that you keep the backgrounds to the bare minimum, but you put enough information to know where we are. So
Right.
we still have setting in place. So all you need to do is like do this little squiggly line, and then what will appear to be pine trees in the background, right off the edges. I know we're in the woods. I know we're in a setting where it's snowy. I know that.
Right.
That's perfect. That's the way you
Oh,
want. That's the way you want to do it.
That's
And-
good to hear. Thank you.
And I will say this. Now, this is just me getting into my teacher mode there, which I don't like doing too much. But
But then don't.
no, but like when everybody in here knows this, everybody understands composition in here. Everybody understands the rule of thirds. Your characters fall on the lines, man. Like that's what's great about your panels. Like if I was to divide this up, without bringing it into Photoshop, I don't know if you see the mouse, but like if I was to divide this up, your characters fall like on this one here on the bottom of the rule of thirds, so it's but that's what makes them work too, because you're drawing our eye exactly where we need to be. The backgrounds, which are limited, don't need it, because we don't need to direct our eye to it. We just need to be like, oh, we're looking over there, there's a tree behind me. They're outside, I'm good. And what I like about yours too is you're also changing up, panel direction. The way they look. I've sometimes attacked strips for a very long time. I'm just changing that now, as you're looking at a stage play, so everything kind of happens at the same distance for the audience all the time.
Right.
I've only recently started changing it, and not that I haven't done it in like when I draw comic book panels, but when I do strips, I for some reason I tend to think of them as stage plays.
All the world's the
Cool.
stage, and we are merely players.
All right, man. Hold on. Let me stop. Freaking screen is it on? There we go. Stop the share. So, you guys, I don't want to kick you out, but you guys need to kick yourselves out now. Tim, I want to thank you for coming on. Mike, I want to thank you too.
Anytime, Mike. Anytime.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I have to leave.
No, dude, it's your birthday. You go celebrate.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Enjoy. You guys, we'll set something up for solo shows for you sometime in the new year.
All right. Sounds good.
See you.
All
All right, guys. Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
guys.
Christmas to you guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
All right.
All right.
Have fun.
Good meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Same here.
Bye, guys. All right, so now,
And now we're down to 2 mics and 2 others.
actually, I go by Michael, so if that's
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Actually, you got rid of the Mike. Now you got the Michaels.
Hey,
I have so many
are you in a comic book
names.
shop right
By the
now?
way,
Izzy,
What's up?
Izzy, are you in a comic book shop right now? The background.
I like you to think I am.
by the way,
Is that one of those
apologize-
things
yeah.
in the back? Yeah. Oh, okay,
Yeah, that's
okay.
really cool.
Hold on,
I
I'm
feel
sorry.
terrible that I'm literally like lying in a bed here. as I'm talking
Don't
with you
feel
guys.
bad. If I
feel
could, I
so
would do this.
lazy.
I would do this from my bed too. I
Ugh.
mean, it's. I've always told people my favorite position next to sitting is reclining. So if I could do stuff just laying down, I'd do the same. You
I'm
know.
not even comfortable. though. That's the problem.
Oh, well, then
Well, I'm just waiting for the moment where you get so comfortable that you end up falling asleep, and
That
we
has
have
happened
that,
before.
and
That
we
has
have it
happened
on record. That you just there, you're like, you just start, and then like, and I guarantee you, Michael's videos will go viral.
finally. No, just fine.
Michael puts guests to sleep.
It might have happened before. I don't know.
Forget counting sheep. Start counting chickens. You know?
There you go,
I
County
haven't had a
Chicken.
chance to get to the comments yet, but Joe Ryan's watching. Hi, Joe. Mike and Joe both said they love it. It was to
Mike's piece.
Tim's piece, I think,
Oh,
because of the time. And Joe said happy birthday to Mike Belcher.
well, he's
both of
gone
those
now,
guys-
Joe.
Yeah.
No one cares anymore.
I love both their work, man. They do a lot of cool stuff, both of them.
Yeah.
They seem like very chill guys, for sure.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
great.
All right, I'm gonna do this and see if I can make this magic work.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to talk about a few things tonight. I usually go. I gotta go about another.
I think the whole show would be like, let's take a look at Michael Cook and see what position he could get himself in. I think that should be the entire show. What do you think, Anibal?
I think
Any position you want, baby.
We're cooking with Michael Cook.
You do. Don't even tempt me. I will make that a show. I'm so sorry, Michael. Go ahead. You.
I don't even know what I was going to say anymore, man. No, listen. First off, because I have Mike on, who's an animator, I wanted just to say today is the 85th anniversary. Happy birthday to Snow White. Disney's first feature-length film, 1937.
Yep.
Is there anything you would like to say about it today? Like, I know you're a Disney fan. Is there anything about the film you'd like to mention?
Who, me or?
Well, anybody, but you first, since you're the animator here.
Oh, well, it's just. I mean, first of all, it kind of blows my mind that it's been 85 years. I mean, I watched the show not too long ago with my nieces, and they're dancing along with Hi Ho and Whistle While You Work, and they're horrified of the witch and the queen, and like it like hits all the marks. They cried when Snow White died. Like, it was just like, it's perfect. Like, it's still that quintessential like Disney movie, and it's only like an hour long. That's the weird thing. It's like not even that long, and just to think of like that was the film. Like, I mean, I'm a big Disney buff, obviously, and I studied like the company, and which is turning 100 this year.
Yeah.
Like Disney.
I got my print over there. I got last year from the D23 event.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you lucky son of a gun. Anyway, to think that like that was the one that Walt like put all of his eggs behind, and how amazing it turned out. Like, it was the Avatar of its day, not current Avatar, the original Avatar. So I think it's just amazing. It's sad that not a lot of those films are really as celebrated as they should be. I think we've really lost a lot of love for, I mean, classic Pinocchio, and which now the remake is like making everyone go back and watch.
Well,
which
the
is
remake.
good.
I was talking to my daughter about the remake, the Pinocchio remake, which there's a scene where he steps on poop, which is, I guess you could say, the filmmaker's way of saying, yeah, this movie's poop.
You know,
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah.
I was going to say I haven't watched it yet, but I was actually going to ask you your opinion on this, Michael.
Hmm.
How do you feel about the remakes?
Hate 'em.
And what they call live action.
Hate them.
Yeah.
Hate them.
I
Hate
agree.
them.
I think it's an insult
Loathe
to
them.
the company
Yeah.
for a company that was founded on animation
Hmm.
to say our classic animation films are not great.
Right.
So you need to watch us in live action because our modern day, well, I don't want to say they won't say it's not great, but our modern day audience won't watch 2D animation. So you need either
I'll
3D
say
or
it.
live action.
You know, I'll say it. They haven't had a good 2D animated film to watch lately. I mean, what, the last one was what, Claws? I mean, that was the last good one, I think.
That was a great film.
You know, the last Disney one that they did was Winnie the Pooh, 11 years ago. Nobody knows there was a Winnie the Pooh movie that came out in 2011.
Yeah.
But there was a Winnie the Pooh movie that came out.
So it just goes to show how they want to be forward thinking in that way, but the reality of it is that there is some beauty in 2D animation when done, especially when done right. So going back to Snow White, I'll be the first one to tell you I've never seen Snow White beginning to end, but
Me neither.
but like you said, the movie's 1 hour, right? Growing up as a kid, if you always remember, they always did those Disney specials where they always show where they show the clips of the movies. I've seen so many clips of Snow White that I almost could guarantee you I saw the movie through clips.
Oh yeah.
Right? That's how many clips I've seen of the movie.
Right.
And yeah, I'm with you on it that they don't celebrate these classic animations like they used to, right? Even up till the late 90s, right? When we got to the 90s, we used to have the vault. Remember the vault?
I remember the Disney vault. Oh,
the Disney vault, the ever precious vault. But what was really cool about the vault scenario was the re-releases of the movies where they were treated as if it was a new film. Like new poster, re-release, come see it again in theaters, because that was definitely a Walt Disney thing. That was Walt that says this deserves to be seen in a big screen. And I think and that is lost today in just the fact that we're not celebrating it in the way it should be celebrated, like the actual medium, rather than their approach to celebrating it is let's make a live action remake. Which some work. I think Aladdin's a good example of that, but it's not the same movie.
Right. Aladdin, I think, is the only one of those that I could tolerate, because it was very different from. I mean, it did what it did right. I mean, I love the songs in Aladdin. I loved how they took. I mean, if you think about it, it's just Hitch in the Arabian Nights. That's all Aladdin 2019 is. Let's be real. I mean,
but I think that's what made it work. The fact that Will Smith came into it not being Robin Williams.
Right. If he had tried, it would have bombed.
It would have bombed. Yeah.
Horrifically. Yeah.
They just said, let's do it. Let's do it. Don't do Robin. Just do it this way, and it worked.
I think it's funny how they released both Aladdin and The Lion King in the same year. I went to go see Aladdin. I saw it 3 times in the theaters. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed Aladdin. I walked out of The Lion King. Yeah. I could not do it. I walked out after... I
didn't even give it a chance. And you know what? That year it came out, like about a month after, I was doing a comic book convention at the local mall where I grew up. Mm-hmm. And Jon Favreau's aunt and uncle were there.
Oh, no.
They were talking. I didn't tell them I didn't see the movie. They came up to me like I was running a kids section and I had all these coloring pages out for the kids, and they were like, my nephew would really like these. Do you mind if I take some stuff from my nephew? I'm like, sure. I didn't know how old the nephew was or who it was at the time. I'm like, yeah, take as much as you want. Let them go and color, let them have fun.
Did he send you back a colored page?
And he's like, they're like, no, he wouldn't. They're like, he draws a lot. He loved comics growing up. They're like, he used to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, oh, I play. I'm the same. I'm the same one. I'm the same person. And he goes, oh, he's out in California. He works in Hollywood. I'm like, oh, what is it? Because he directs movies. He directed one that just came out. And I'm like, really? Which one? He's like, The Lion King. I'm like, really? And I'm like, okay, I know who your nephew is. And their last name is Favreau, and
Right.
And the uncle is also John. that I
No
met.
kidding.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
I was like, holy shit. Sorry, I didn't curse on my show. I don't usually curse. Sorry. And
Your rules, right?
And I'm pressed, you know.
And,
Your rules.
Like
yeah,
I said, edit it, you know.
edit it. Yeah, live action. Let's edit.
You know how annoying that is to edit a live action video afterwards?
I'm not doing
Hey
it.
guys, I wanted to touch on the
Yeah.
Pinocchio remake. I started watching it, and I don't know if you guys are fans of stop motion animation. I'm a huge fan of stop motion.
Some
and
of it. Done
it's
correctly,
very
yes.
quality material.
The you're talking about the Guillermo del Toro.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
that
we're
one.
talking about the
Is that
Disney
same one you guys were talking
No.
about?
No, we were
no,
talking about the
Disney.
the Tom Hanks one.
Yeah, Disney.
Oh, I didn't know they made it. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
the-
God.
Keep it that way.
Disney didn't want you to know that either.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
They didn't want you
The
to
Del
know about
Toro one
Pinocchio
is
or Lady and the
quality,
Tramp.
though. The
Lady and
Toro-
Trap was good. I like Lady and Trap.
Yeah.
Lady and Trap I like.
I
All I'm saying
refuse to watch any live action Disney remakes
1, 2,
of
1, 2.
movies. I watched Beauty and the Beast and I watched Aladdin. Those were the only two. I can
stand
deal
Beauty
with
and the
that.
Beast.
I only like that they added the song Evermore. What is it? Nevermore or Evermore? Whatever. I like that song that they added. But I didn't like the look of the. I mean, I know the era they were going for, but I didn't like the look of the designs of the of all the the teapots and all that stuff. I didn't like how
Right.
they did that. But Aladdin was okay to me, but like you guys said, it was a kind of a different story,
Yeah.
But anyway, Anibal, you were saying.
Yeah, that Del Toro one is I thought it's pretty good. I've started watching it, and it looks like I thought you guys were trashing that. I'm like, damn,
Oh,
really? Have they-
No.
I mean,
That's
I'd
pretty
rather
good
take
stuff.
the Pauly Shore Pinocchio over the Disney one.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
not
God.
aware.
Well, speaking of Pinocchio is one of those Disney films, and let's call it what it is. Disney films did not attract a lot of the boys. The boys were not really into the Disney films, and Pinocchio was one that did. It got the boys. Right? Largely because it's a story about a wooden boy that wants to become a real boy, and just his story has so many different layers to it, right? Because they're multiple stories. It's you're literally it's almost as if you're reading a comic book arc in a movie, and just like Snow White, it's not a long film, but each part is separate. It's separate story, right? So you got him with the puppeteer, you got him, going to the island with the boys,
Pleasure Island, yeah.
Pleasure, and then you have the wheel scene, right? That could be 3 separate movies or 3 separate shorts, and it's such a perfect movie because it's so wholesome, and Pinocchio himself is like. You're rooting for him, and you're like, when he goes to Pleasure Island, like, no, don't do it, Pinocchio. And you're parenting Pinocchio, and in this movie, it was just trying to duplicate all that, but doing it in a bad way, and even get rid of the fairy, who's played by a fantastic actress.
Right.
So, I didn't get a chance to see it. I've been dying to see it, but I heard so much already that I'm like, oh, how could you fail, especially with Tom Hanks in the play? But again, it's a Robert Zemeckis film, and with Robert Zemeckis, it's hit or miss, unfortunately, with him.
I mean, he did Roger Rabbit, so I got to give him a pass,
He also did Back to the Future. So,
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, back.
Yeah.
but he also did Polar Express.
Okay, well, then there you go. I will say this.
Hey guys, in the interest of just getting to know you a little bit, I was interested in Michael Cook, if you don't mind, Mike. I wanted to ask you, did you mention you did voice acting as well?
I do, yes.
Earlier, yeah. Okay. Is anything that I might have heard of, like anything I would know? I'm not that deep in the animation cycle, but I would gladly go look at it and check it out, just knowing that you did it.
Oh God! Well, Chucky Chicken obviously is the big one.
Okay.
I've also done work on a show called Devil to Pay.
Okay.
I'm the voice of oh my gosh, what's his name?
Can I
Patch.
find that like on YouTube or something?
Yep,
Or
yep,
what?
yep.
Yeah.
Ted
Okay.
Hazard. You look up Ted Hazard, Devil to Pay.
His work is really good. I had him on the
Yeah?
show too. He's got
Okay.
really good
Very
humor.
funny guy.
Okay. Here's another question for you, Mike.
Yes.
Would you be willing to do one of the voices now?
Oh my gosh. Uh,
Get in
Uh,
character. Get in
I
character.
will say he's basically Chucky's voice is almost his normal voice. I
Yeah.
think you exaggerated a little bit.
a little
Chucky.
bit, yeah. Yeah.
Chucky from the movie the
No,
Child's
no,
Play
no.
movie?
No,
Chucky
his
Chicken.
Chucky Chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar
Chucky
with that.
Chicken, he is he's a bad Walt Disney impersonation, just like
Okay.
a young Walt Disney. So,
Okay.
he kind of talks like this a little bit, like, "Howdy folks, how you doing? It's Chucky Chicken here, and can't wait to make some swell cartoons for you folks. It's going to be great, and uh Patch, he's a oh my gosh.
I put you on the spot there, huh?
You did. Well, I could do character voices. Like I've done impersonations for people. I've done Donald Duck, and
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
let's see,
that's awesome.
gosh, I've done a lot of I've done Mickey Mouse for people. I've done, Goofy for people. I've done Pluto.
Give us Goofy. Go do Goofy.
Well, I would. My parents are asleep up above me here. Like I said, I'm at my parents, but gosh, howdy, folks. Good to see you.
Give us a
Gosh,
little Mickey.
awesome.
I love. Give us some Mickey.
Mickey's really high pitched, right?
Oh gosh, hi everybody. Mickey Mouse here. Can't really do them lying down. So.
Hey, it sounds great. It actually
That's
sounds
cool,
really
man.
good.
That's cool,
Yeah.
man. Good stuff.
Thanks. But yeah,
Golly.
oh boy. Yeah, my nieces love Mickey. We watched a lot of the old Mickey
That's
Mouse
got to be
cartoons.
fun to have kids around and do that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, when they were growing up, they're 4 now, but when they were like 2 and 3,
Yeah.
they would call me up and they would go, Goofy, or Pete.
Requests.
And it was,
You got
oh my
requests.
god, it was adorable.
That's
I
cool,
loved
man.
it.
That's awesome.
And they still do to this day, so which is fantastic. But
That's great.
I will say this, to kind of get back to the animation thing.
Right.
I have hope that they'll start doing 2D stuff again. In case you didn't see, they put out 2 Oswald cartoons not too long ago.
I haven't watched them yet, but I know they're out. I want to see.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're very short. One is a commercial for like Givarchy or something like that. I don't know, some French company. But then the other is like a black and white silent Oswald cartoon. And if you don't know who Oswald the Lucky Rabbit is, he was the character that Walt Disney made before Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse.
he predates Mickey.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
I've heard of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's pretty much he pretty much looks he resembles Mickey but with long ears instead of
Right.
like the typical circle ear. It's
Yeah,
more like a long.
Well,
they're
they're-
droopy ears, really.
They were drawn by
Which is the
same
one
guy.
that they used in that the one that they always show in that clip where he's like steering.
Oh,
a
Steamboat
a
Willie?
boat.
That's Mickey.
That's
That's
Mickey.
Mickey. Okay.
That's
yeah,
Steamboat
yeah,
Willie,
that's
yeah.
Okay.
But so the story goes that in 1927, Disney created Oswald the Lucky Rabbit when he was at Universal Pictures with his partner Ub Iwerks, and they created 26 Oswald shorts. In the beginning of 1928, Disney went back to New York to talk to his distributor Charles Mintz, and basically said, "We want to do more cartoons. We need a little bit more money in order to make better cartoons," because even back then he was all about quality. Mintz basically said, "Not only am I not going to give you more money, I'm taking 20% away from you,
Wow.
and I've signed all of your animators to different contracts, so now they work for me. Plus, if you look at your contract, I own the rabbit, you don't," which is true. The distributor owned the character at the time. So he basically said, "You can either take this contract or get the hell out of here." And so Walt obviously chose
Walt
the
was
latter.
like, "I'm making my own shit."
Exactly.
Get that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he made Mickey Mouse. He made 2 cartoons. He made Plain
All right.
Crazy, and he made Gallopin' Gaucho. Both of them bombed. and then on November 18th, he released Steamboat Willie, and that was
That's the one I'm
landmark.
talking. Okay,
That's the one.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Wow.
Oswald, and what's really funny about it is, for 80 years nobody knew who Oswald was because he was owned by Universal, and when the current CEO, who was the former CEO, came in, Bob Iger, came to the company in 2006, the first thing that he did was he went to Universal, and Al Michaels, the famous sports announcer, wanted out of his contract with ABC to go over to NBC because John Madden was doing the best damn sports show ever, and he wanted to be on that show with them. So in order to get him out of the contract, they basically said, "Okay, we'll let Michaels out, but you give us Oswald." So they
Nice.
traded.
Yeah. Trade prisoners type of thing, right?
Exactly.
And
So, yeah.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
This
so
is
because
interesting
of,
stuff.
yeah.
I love hearing about this.
Yeah, so because of that
Yeah.
trade, Oswald came back to Disney. They went out to find all the Oswald shorts. They only found half of them,
Wow.
and they remastered them, they restored them, put them on DVD. I got that in 2006. Oh no, 2007. Later that year, Chucky Chicken was born. He was inspired by
Okay.
Oswald the
Okay.
Lucky Rabbit. So he's a very
Alright.
important character to me.
Okay.
So I have hope. I know that they were doing the apprenticeship program where they were bringing on new hand-drawn animators because Eric Goldberg and Mark Henn and Randy Hancock are getting old, or like they want to retire. I'm sure.
Phasing them out.
Well, they're the best that there ever are.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
those
Okay.
guys. Don't get me wrong.
I gotta say, I got to meet Eric last year at the D23 event, and first of all, really nice guy.
Mhm.
But he was down there because he kind of there's a new Cirque du Soleil show down there. It was supposed to premiere when the pandemic started, so they
Right.
held off and they just started. But it's a really interesting show about a girl who loses her father, and her father was an animator, and she doesn't know how to communicate and deal with this except through going to her dad's animation desk and animating. So there's all this live action cut with these animations projected on a screen that tells the story of this girl, right? So there's somebody who handled live action, but Eric was in charge of getting the animated
animation.
sequence. I don't know if he actually animated, but he was in charge of working and like producing the animation. And I'm like, oh my god, like just the story and the little clips that they talked about and showed them. I was so upset I didn't have tickets to see it. Like next time I go down to Disney, I want to make sure I get tickets to see it. It just sounds like a gorgeous show. And
Yeah.
and Michael, I'm sure you saw this. There was a new documentary about Mickey Mouse where they made
Yep.
that 1
Yeah.
minute. Oh my god,
Mickey
that was
in a
such
Minute,
a
yeah.
Mickey in a Minute.
With all the animators that worked on them before. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. That was
Three.
amazing.
Three guys.
Three guys. Eric Goldberg was one of them,
That's cool.
Yeah.
and they took different eras of Mickey, and they just did this beautiful,
Mhm.
like, oh my god, just transition of all his different looks.
They took the little whirlwind, and and ironically enough, the background was from the band concert, and the music was from the band concert. But it starts with Mickey's Christmas Carol from '88, and it goes all the way back to Steamboat Willie, and it's a
Yeah.
very,
awesome.
very fun cartoon.
Yeah,
Um,
just Anibal, if you have Disney Plus, I recommend checking it.
Yeah,
out.
I do have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have it.
Yeah.
It's called.
It's really good.
Disney in a
Mickey
Minute.
story. Yeah,
Right.
Mickey Story of a Mouse is the
Mhm.
documentary.
Hey guys, I
Oh,
actually
that's
gotta step out, guys. I will be
sorry.
looking you up, Michael, and I'll try to look up the other guys too, just to broaden the circle and keep the creative
Yeah.
juices going.
Yeah,
It was a pleasure meeting you guys, man.
Yeah.
Izzy, as always a pleasure.
It's always
Hopefully I'll
good seeing you.
Comic-Con. And Mike, man, let's link up, man.
We'll be talking this week.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
talk this
absolutely.
week. And if you need
All
their
right,
names or social media stuff, just message me. I'll get that all to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Mike.
for coming on.
Take it
man.
easy on Eva.
So long,
Yeah.
Brady. Good to meet you. Merry
All right.
And then
right,
there was
and,
3.
Yes. I just want to say in the comments, Joe Ryan mentions Drawn to Life. Drawn to Life, a fantastic book. Two books. If you guys know, do you know it, Mike?
I I do. I think Drawn to Life is also the name of the Cirque du Soleil show that he was talking about.
Oh, Drawn to Life. Yes, that's
Yes.
right. I believe so.
I do remember that.
So.
Yeah.
I go by the books that I have them behind me. Those I know where they are.
Yeah.
I could see them when I turn, but I'd have to move my Darkwing Duck snow globe to get to them.
Yeah. So
Speaking of Darkwing Duck, Dynamite's releasing Darkwing Duck very soon.
Oh, are
very
they?
cool.
Yeah, so they released recently Gargoyles, and now they're gonna do Darkwing Duck. So I'm looking forward to picking that one up. So
I actually had the honor of meeting Darkwing Duck, Jim Cummings.
oh yeah,
Yes, I've met him
yeah.
too. Cool guy. But can you
Sweet
tell me
guy.
your story?
Okay, so I was at C2E2 in 2021, and he was there. I went purposely just to meet him, and I had my little Chucky Chicken. Well, I bring my book with me about Chucky Chicken just to like pitch it to people to get them interested. And ironically, nearly every single person that I've pitched it to wants to be a part of the show. I don't know why. It just happens that way. That's my small brag. Anyway, so I showed it to Jim, and he's going through it, and he's looking, and he's doing voices to the characters. He's like, "Oh, look, it's Chucky Chicken. This is super cool." Or, "Oh, Freddy Fox, yeah, man, he just looked like the bad guy." I love, like, he's just super cool, dude. He goes, "Can I keep this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I brought it for you, dude. Absolutely." And he was really, really sweet. And his agent, as I'm trying to leave, his agent stops me, and he goes, "Jim never gets excited about anything. Like, he's always very cordial, and he's very, he'll say thank you, but he never does what he did with your book. We need to talk because he wants to be a part of it. I want to make it happen." I'm like,
Hell yeah.
okay. So, but what was super cool, that was the when I met him. But then later on, a couple hours later, he was by himself at his booth, which rarely happens. I think they were like starting to wrap up for the day, and he was tired, obviously, and I got the opportunity to like chat with him. Super cool. He's like, "So how are you enjoying it, man?" He's like, "Oh, I love it. I love Chicago. Great city, great little place." And he said, and so I asked, "Is there any place that you've been wanting to go to that you haven't, enjoyed yet?" He goes, there's this one place I can't think of it from the top of my head. It's a Chicago staple." And so the first thing I said was like, "Portillo's?" And he goes, "That's it." He turns to his agent, "We need to go to Portillo's now." And he was just super, it's like, "Thank you." So I helped him introduce him to Portillo's. But it was really cool because I got to, my nieces love Winnie the Pooh, and my sister-in-law is a huge Pooh. Like, she cries whenever they watch Pooh's Grand Adventure. That, you're braver than you believe. Like, she has that on a quote sign, which is just, it's her favorite film. So I said, I want to thank you for not only making my childhood, but now you're making my niece's childhood, and they love Winnie the Pooh. They love Tigger. So I just want to say thank you. And he says, "Well, you tell them the Pooh Bear loves them very much." I'm like, "Oh, they will, and they will just have a heart attack that I know Winnie the Pooh."
That's
so
great.
yeah, so he's a very, very sweet guy.
That's
I
great.
love Jim.
that's awesome.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I actually, I mean, I did a show a few years back. It was the Great Philadelphia Comic Con, and they brought the entire cast of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
And I know his promoter who brings him to shows. From doing a couple of other shows, I've gotten to meet him. I'm friendly with him. And
big guy with glasses, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he also handles a friend of mine, Marty Grabstein, who's the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Mhm.
So like, so like when I got there, he just introduced me to the people, and I just went and I met. And one of my all-time favorite, I'm blanking on his name now, was the guy who's Rabbit, I believe, because he's also Ernie the Keebler Elf. And I'm a big fan, not just of the cookies, but of the cartoons growing up,
Right.
the little commercials. I used to draw them all the time.
Right, yeah.
Like the way I taught myself how to draw was I'd record shows, pause them, and draw what I would see on the screen.
Right.
And that's how I taught myself. But I would also pause on commercials like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to draw like Ernie all the time and all the other Keeblers and Snap Crackle Pop and all those mascots. I'm a huge like mascot fan,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Mostly of food mascots. I'm not a sports guy, so sorry guys. But food.
There's not that many sports. Well,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Animated, at least.
Yeah.
If they're not here, then they're
Yeah.
who cares?
But yeah, so like I did a picture of Ernie just because I was such a fan, and I was talking to him. Me and him had such a great conversation.
Are you talking about Walker Edmondson?
Is that he's an elderly guy now?
I think he's dead, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he passed away in 2007.
No, then it wasn't him. It
81.
This guy was.
The voice of the Keebler Elf, right?
Yeah, I have to look him up. Give me a second. I'm on my phone here.
No, is that what that is?
Nice one.
I'm sorry.
You are such a wise ass, man.
That's a good way of putting it.
It's better than being a dumbass, okay?
Well, what's the first word in wise guy or wise ass? You got to be wise, right? So
Exactly.
That's what I say all the time. You know what I mean?
Listen, I ain't bald for no reason, you know? There's a lot of traffic going on around here.
Oh, he doesn't
man.
have a picture up, of course. I don't know. I have an autograph. Is it on the wall? No, I only have Ernie. I don't have his face on there. Underneath that, though, I got why am I blanking on his name too? I can't read it. But it was the guy who played Skeletor.
I know exactly who you're talking about. It's
Yeah,
a really...
But I got his autograph on my wall as Falcor from the Neverending Story because he also did
Nice.
Falcor, and I just love that.
Yeah.
It's one of my. That's like the first movie I remember like as a kid loving so much, and the first movie I think I cried at. You know, I don't know if you guys remember the Neverending Story.
I
movie,
saw the
but-
Never-Ending Story maybe less than 10 years ago for the first time.
Alan Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Is it Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a Heimer.
Maybe, but
It's some kind of Heimer.
There's a scene where the guy's bringing his horse through the swamp of sadness there, and the horse doesn't understand that if you get scared and act out, the swamp's gonna suck you in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so here he is trying to save his horse, and his horse is being drawn in because his horse is freaking out. And even now, I feel like I'm watching the death of Optimus Prime thinking about this. You know, it's just, oh my god, like it's one of those few things that really like hits me.
Can I make it a real life confession right here now? I know you're probably going to hate me. I laughed my ass off during that scene. I thought it was so funny. This kid yelling at this horse in the sand.
You are one of the craziest people.
I thought you were talking about the Optimus Prime scene for a second. I was like, oh no, not the Optimus Prime scene.
No.
That's
No.
childhood drama right there.
Oh, my God. That Roger Rabbit, like all of Judge Doom and Roger Rabbit, and the pink elephants from Dumbo are my like drama fuel. Like, oh my God.
I think for me, talking about Winnie the Pooh, when we were talking about Winnie the Pooh does have some memories for me because when I was a little kid, back when I was born, my mom took me to Sears, and in Sears they would do the Sears portrait studio, and I'm a little baby at the time, and they loved me so much that they ended up becoming one of those the Sears baby advertisement posters, right?
Wow.
So I ended up being an advertising poster, and it gave me a Winnie the Pooh doll. That was that's what they paid us with. And there was this, and if you remember the Winnie the Pooh dolls back then, it was one of those stuff. The cotton was like a little fuzzy, and I remember that was like my doll. That was it. Yeah. And every weekend,
fluffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Super soft, yeah.
And it wasn't that big. It was like about maybe yay so. And every weekend, my grandfather from New Jersey would pick us up, and we would go stay in my grandfather's house. So there was one Saturday he picked us up, and I'm a kid. We're in the car, and I accidentally threw the Winnie the Pooh doll inside the George Washington Bridge.
Oh my god!
And I cried hysterically, and he manages to get the Winnie the Pooh back.
Oh,
So he stops the
what a-
car in the George Washington Bridge and somehow manages to get the Winnie the Pooh. So, so that's my love for Winnie the Pooh, man. So and I had that doll for like years, like even like I think my mom might still have it.
Oh,
As far as I know.
gave me a big hug.
Yeah,
So-
but Winnie the Pooh, man, he's now public domain, and they're doing him dirty these days.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
remember, it's not Disney's Winnie the Pooh.
No, I know it's not.
That's
I know it's never been Disney.
Yeah.
That I know, but I'm just saying now that it's public domain, it's like
If you put a red shirt on it, that just drives me nuts. I love the legality and I love the technicality. All you need to do is put a red shirt on him, and he's Disney's. Otherwise, fair game.
wow.
And wait
It's amazing how public domain works, right?
Right. Well,
Dude, I love
Oswald.
public domain stuff.
Yeah.
so
Well,
I don't
Oswald the
know.
Lucky Rabbit is going into the public domain in a week.
Wouldn't he have been already by now? Because if he
95.
if he predated Mickey,
So-
shouldn't he be public domain already?
Well, he was made in 1927. So the deal is 95 years. That's what they extended it to.
Okay.
So this is the 95th anniversary of Oswald. So next year he'll be going into the public domain, and then the year after, Mickey Mouse.
Unless-
Minnie Mouse.
Just
Unless-
watch the laws change again. I mean,
Oh, I'm
I don't
sure.
I don't think they will.
I don't think so
will.
either, because I heard a story. Because first of all, the reason all the changes and the stuff was because of Disney and Mickey Mouse for the most part. Was
Right.
Disney was always putting someone over there in Congress who
Yeah.
and being like, hey,
Lobbying
we
for
got, lobbying for him and stuff. And I heard not just because of how bad Disney is doing right now as a company, but even before that, the person that they were going to have lobbying is no longer able to, or so. I don't know. I heard some weird story or read an article that that the person who Disney had like inside our government that's always like is no longer there, like may have retired or something. I don't know what it is.
Good riddance, as far as I'm concerned, because they need to start putting some stuff in the public domain.
And I'm going to start making some Mickey cartoons. I'm kidding.
I've told people, like, as soon as he gets into the public domain, I'm having Oswald cameo in a trolley in the Chucky Chicken cartoon.
You should.
Because his first cartoon was Trolley Trouble, so
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
makes sense.
And then when
As-
Steamboat Willie, he has to be in the boat and kind of just wave to Chucky. Up on the
Exactly.
sea.
Now-
Exactly.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong with this whole animation thing. Is that also the same reason why they always updated the character's look and feel every so often? Did it had something to do with that? Because every time I see that, they always do this certain type of updating to a character that he doesn't look quite the same. It's like it's him,
Right.
but at the same time, it's like subtleties.
A lot for Mickey in particular, I know it was just the evolution of the craft of animation, as well as better artists coming in and doing a better job. For example, Mickey was created originally by a guy named Iwerks, who also created Oswald, worked with Disney
Yeah.
in the beginning. In the 30s, another animator named Les Clark came in and redefined Mickey and made him more easier to animate, gave him the white gloves, gave him more rounder features, like instead of it being like two circles, it was a little more pear-shaped. Freddie Moore came in and just made what we know today as the Disney style. Gave Mickey the pie, the whites in his eyes, along with
Yeah.
Ward Kimball, who did that too. So as the years progressed and the characters evolved, just because technology got better. Now, I will say that unfortunately today a lot of animators are lazy. they like
Well,
to use.
They're using the programs to their advantage in that way to
Right.
allow them to, because Mickey has gone back to in a weird way, he's gone back to almost an original look. Obviously,
I hate that
it's
look.
I'm
can't
okay
stand
with it. The one I don't like is I don't like Goofy's look.
Everybody complains about Goofy.
Oh,
Like
I'm
Goofy
okay
looks like
with
a
it.
homeless person.
he
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Well,
I'm okay with the style, but Goofy turns me off a lot of times.
Yeah, because
Well-
it almost looks like he has flies around him. Like he should have flies floating around him. You know what I'm talking about?
I actually, I'm friends with Dave Alvarez on Facebook,
Yeah,
and
Dave's
he
awesome
did
guy.
this. I'd love to have him on my podcast, the Chicken Chat, and I'm a big fan of Koto Katori, and he loves Chucky Chicken. So
Yeah, it's funny. I still have my Instagram up. Dave Alvarez's Instagram picture of Kotra is right on my screen right now.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he did a picture of Mickey and Donald, in kind of like their classic
Yeah.
Disney style, with Donald having the longer beak and the longer neck, and looking old school. And
He looks more
everyone-
like a goose than a duck.
well, that's what he used to look like
Yeah.
back in the day. And
Yeah.
so everyone was like, "Why didn't they just do that?" And they said they wanted to, but kids apparently were put off by the way Donald looked. I'm like, and they're not horrified of Goofy? Like, what is wrong with show? And what it is, it's if you do 2D animation, Hollywood immediately says you need to do Ren and Stimpy infused into it. You
Yeah.
need to have the
Yeah,
over
that has
exaggeration.
that red and steam feel. Now I
Yeah.
actually get it because the goose version of Donald Duck, very similar to the Daffy Duck version when you really think about it. It's not as pleasing as those original versions
Right.
of Goofy and Mickey and the rest of the gang, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think because the Goose version, it's like,
Right.
the beak is just like not that good. It's just like with Bugs Bunny's another good one. The
Right.
original Bugs Bunny does not look as good, as sharp as the
Right.
Bugs Bunny we're more familiar with, right?
Right.
Um,
The
and I
original
think
Mickey Mouse still looks great.
yeah, the original it's like almost perfect, right? It's a perfect it's a perfect design. I'm looking at it right now. My wife has keychains, and I literally saw a Mickey. So when it comes to those designs, I get it. Just like in Superman, right? Superman's another good example of that. Kurt Swan gave us the Superman we love, right? Even though Joe Shuster drew Superman a certain way, and we saw the evolution of Superman from really just being this blue red tights and just like this triangle S.
Yeah.
Swan gave us the hexagon, well, not the hexagon, the diamond shape S. And moving forward, that's how our Superman is going to look like, even though it's like some renditions here, some alterations here, but ultimately throughout the ages, that's how we envision Superman. Same thing with Batman and all those other characters. They just evolved to something a little more. The word modern comes to mind, but more defined, I say, is probably a better term.
Even Bugs Bunny had different directors, but every time you think of Chuck Jones, and if I can really quick, I see Joe Ryan saying, "Question is,
I
Mickey,
wanted to
Goofy,
get to
Donald
that.
is, they're not in public domain at all. Like not right now. People do their voices, but it is very much either parody or fan project or something like that. They are not public domain. So
Not yet.
Not yet. They will be
But
soon.
also just know they'll be public domain for like the movies. So like Oswald's coming out next week, right? You said. So if Oswald had a voice, then only that type of voice could be used because that's the voice in public domain.
Right.
If it changed 5 years later or the year after, which won't be in public domain, then that version is not there. Like you were just talking about Superman. When Superman eventually goes into public domain, which he will, it's only going to be Action Comics #1. He couldn't fly, no Lois Lane, no Lex Luthor, no Kryptonite, none of that stuff. It's this man who leaps tall buildings in a single bound and can move a car out of the way. That's whatever happened in Action Comics #1 is what is available to you. You have to draw him with that triangle. I don't even think it was a triangle at the time.
No, it was a triangle. It was a triangle.
In the first one? I thought
It was
inside
a
he had
triangle.
more of a shield, like
There
like
was a
like a
shield
badge.
version. I think the first original one. Well, not the first Action Comics version.
Yeah,
It's the triangle.
it's
The
triangle.
the
Inside the book
shield.
too.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was very much a triangle s, and then they went to the shield, like the little
It was
whichever
like a
whatever.
badge. Like
Yeah,
a
it was
police
like a badge.
almost.
It was almost like a police badge, and then we get the actual shield that
Yeah,
we're
'cause that
familiar
was-
with.
Because I've been looking at a lot of, like I said, Wayne Boring, and Wayne Boring, if I remember correctly, Wayne Boring was a ghost artist for Schuster for a while, and he did a lot. And I'm looking. Oh, that's an eBay piece. I'm just looking at some of the images, and he has kind of that diamond shield that you were talking about, but that was more. He's got more of the George Reeves diamond.
Yeah.
So it's a little slight. It's smaller. When Kurt Swan, who is my favorite Superman artist, came, he defined that look of what Superman is. But Wayne had a little bit more of a cartoony style to him, and he's more the George Reeves Superman that we know.
Yeah.
So, just no, go ahead. I'm just reading Joe Ryan's next comment.
Oh.
So because
Yeah. So what I'm learning is when Oswald comes out, what's going to be cool about it is there's going to be about 10 or 12 cartoons that hit the public domain in, in 23, and then 24, all of the old Oswalds come out. And what's super fun about it is there are Oswald cartoons that are considered lost media today, but we have the manuscripts, we have the concept art, we have all of the stuff. So I've been talking with the team, and I've been like, when they hit public domain, how fun it would be to just like recreate it, and redo it, and just have the official like Oswald cartoon out there that people have been waiting for, but it's just lost to time. We don't know where it is. So we're talking about it. Nothing is even set in stone, but no, you can do parody stuff, you can do satire, you just I know people who, and even today, unfortunately, the line is kind of blurred in terms of like fan art and selling it and stuff like that. Like,
no, the line's not blurred. People just do it, and they're not supposed to. That's my opinion. Because I personally think companies should be cracking down on these guys. No offense to my friends who do it, but I'm a, you make cartoons, I make comics, I also make cartoons on occasion. I'm a creator. I want to promote my stuff. I don't think somebody who's never worked on a product line should be drawing the characters, and when they should be out creating their own stuff. Use their imagination, create a team, do what they need to do. That's my own personal opinion. But
yeah, and I get your point. I get your point, especially being an artist myself. I get that entirely. I do know that the reason why, let's face it, the big two in this case, they don't crack down on it. It's not good for the public image.
Oh yeah.
They did it before.
Well, they do it. So when it gets to the point that creator, will say, is making big bucks off of it, that's when they crack down.
Right.
But for the most part, to the everyday person that just is in a show and they're selling prints, it becomes more of a free marketing. Like, they're not making money off of that person's print or anything like that, but that person doesn't have the money that they need. Besides, they really don't need that money. They just want to see. They just want to stop the process from happening, right? But they look at it from they look at it from a certain perspective that it's not worth the fight. That's the point.
Yeah, and I remember in the 80s, like, didn't Disney go after like a bunch of daycare centers for having Disney
that was a big deal.
Like, that's a huge deal. Like, why would you? Like, that destroys your public relationship with people, destroys your image.
They said that was a mistake to do.
But that was just an idiot that just said, let's do this. And then when it got out, it made the news first, the local news, then it made the big news.
Oh my God.
And everybody was like, what is this daycare center doing that's so bad that you don't want to have Mickey Mouse characters? Now, the reality of it is, as long as the characters are not portrayed in a way that's damaging, they don't really care.
There's one thing I actually discovered not too long ago. Chucky Cheese actually did, in one of their original stores in, I think it was like Winchester, in San Jose, California. They commissioned these beautiful cardboard or plywood murals of all their characters, and they had them all over the walls of like one of the original. It was called the Pizza Time theaters back in the day, and one of them was of the Cartoon Mouse Hall of Fame, and it had Mighty Mouse, it had Chuck E. Cheese, and it had the Cinderella Mice, Mickey, Minnie, Morty, Ferdy, a few other mice. Okay, they got a cease and desist letter, and they were told, take it down. And what they ended up doing was they took down all the murals, and they're now all upstairs in the private office area of the old Pizza Time Theater building. So if you get a tour up there today, they not only have the mural, but they have the letter.
Oh, they framed the letter. They did one of those.
And what's messed up about it is they created the murals in the mid '80s, and the cease and desist letter came out in like 97, 98.
Oh, so it was years.
Years later.
That had to have been someone went and saw something or heard something.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
it
100%.
takes time too. Also, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a long a long amount of time.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say, and then we should get off this topic of what a friend of mine who's no longer with us used to refer to as print pirates. The only people I know that I don't know if they still do it, that went after people were Star Wars fandom and Walking Dead fandom. So like there would be literally people walking around shows who work for the companies, and I know with Star Wars you used to get a little card that says you're an official artist that gives you the right to sell Star Wars work, and if you were unable to show it, they would take all your stuff. They would make sure you would have to they would clear you out. I've had friends who have seen it happen, and that's not the reason I don't do that stuff. I became the type of person because I used to do the fan art stuff. I used to that was back when I started. That's how I knew shows. Artists did fan art, and once I started creating my own product line, my own characters, I said, I don't want to do fan art anymore. I'll do original art. I love Spider-Man. I mean, he's not my all-time favorite, but I love Spider-Man. And if I want to draw Spider-Man, I'll draw an original piece, and I will put that at my table, and I'll be happy to sell an original piece of Spider-Man. But I will not turn that into prints. I'm okay with original art. I'm not okay with prints. That's just a personal opinion. As someone who wants to make money off a brand I'm building.
Right. And you're not wrong, because my dad was the same way. Like, growing up as an artist, I drew Mickey, I drew Sonic, I drew Pokemon, the whole thing. And he was like, make your own character, because you can't sell Mickey Mouse. You can't sell Sonic the Hedgehog. And if you try, they will come after you and they will destroy you, because it's Disney. He put the fear of God in me, and so I'm like, okay, I'm never doing that. There's a part of me that's kind of like kicking myself in the butt a little bit, because I wish I had done more fan art and put it out there online to build the audience a little bit more, and then do the Chucky Chicken stuff. I'm glad I didn't, though, because Chucky is his own thing, and he's really evolved and become something much bigger than I would have even thought. But yeah, that's a genuine fear that people have. Like, even me, like, I won't put up I'll do like a Mickey Mouse drawing. Like, I do Chucky wishing, he wished Donald Duck a happy birthday, Goofy a happy birthday, Oswald a happy birthday. Yeah. But he's there with them, like handing him a piece of cake or something. Yeah. Or a balloon or a present or something. But yeah, it's scary. You never know. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the fear. Even back when I was doing it, I wasn't afraid of it.
Mhm.
I just, at one point, I just stopped. I'm like, no, this is at the time I was doing a Plunger Pup character. I don't know if I ever showed you him, but had a character called Plunger Pup who fought crime with a magic plunger. And, he was basically, Hal Jordan and Green Lantern meets Luke Skywalker. That was basically who he was. And I'm like, no, I want to sell Plunger Pup. So I'm just going to draw Plunger Pup stuff and Plunger Pup characters. And, I stopped after a while, but it's a character. Let's see, do I have, I don't know if either of you have ever seen Plunger Pup.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No, I don't think you showed me.
That's a bad cover. I don't want to show that one. This actually, listen, I'm going to be the most critical on my work.
Of course. Let us get a stab at being critical, will you?
Oh, thank you. So this was the very first cover of Plunger Pup. Let me just had a book stuck to it. He's bursting out of the toilet.
I like him. He's very funny.
He's changed a bit in style a little bit since then.
So why? So we have 3 plungers in this image.
No, 2.
No, 3.
Oh, 3 on his chest. Yeah. I forgot about
I
that.
think we know why it's there.
Exactly, and he's coming out of the toilet. Interesting.
The tagline, the tagline for it was "A dog, a magic plunger, and a universe of evil." And that was and that's how I sold it. So
one of these things encompasses another.
I mean, the strip. So.
Oh man.
So I think some of
Late
you know
night
about
with Michael Gracia, Young 2.
I think some of you know my Dax Photon character who pays homage to all sci-fi that I love. He's something I'll be working on very soon after I finish drawing, because The Wiz is coming back, as I mentioned. He's going to be a weekly strip. So once I'm done drawing The Wiz, my next thing to focus on is drawing Dax Photon. But Plunger Pup was a tribute to everything I love, superheroes, everything. And they're just parodies of heroes. So I have Mighty Monkey in there. Plunger Pup's cousin is Hydrant Hound.
Hydra Hound, I love that.
Hydrant Hound. Let's see. I had who else was there? I found out I couldn't use the name, so I had to change his name. But there was the Bionic Bear. He was like the $6 million man, but a bear. Because bionic, I can't use the word bionic, but I created it before.
Why not biomechanical bear?
I didn't think of that. But Bionic was trademarked. There was an issue with it back when the not that it happened. To do the cartoon Bionic 6.
Yeah, I remember the Bionic 6.
They had to get permission to use the
Bionic.
Word Bionic because I think it went because of the Bionic Woman, or it was something else. I don't.
Yeah, it would have to be the Bionic Woman because the $6 million man was the first, the original.
They may have trademarked it for something, and they couldn't use it.
Wasn't it like the toy Bionicles too? Wasn't that a thing?
Yes, but I think that I don't know, but because it's a different name, that might be it. But I used Bionic, and I was like, oh, I couldn't do that. But there, I had my own Iron Man. His name was Steel Stork. There was so if there was a superhero out, I had a parody of him in animal form. My Batman was Gadget Guy.
Gadget Guy.
Yeah, there was. Oh, actually, there was a really cool parody I had on Batman and like the Adam West. It was Mop Man and Water Bucket Boy. So Mop Man had this giant mop, but it was like a Swiss Army knife, like a giant Swiss Army knife. And
That's
Water
fantastic.
Bucket Boy fought crime with a bucket of water.
That is awesome.
What's his arch enemy? The Wonder Twins or something like that?
There was,
I got the bucket! I got the bucket! Come on, Zach!
There was
fantastic.
what the hell was it? The main villain was, well, there were two. There was a guy named Cyberboss. He was like had a robot body with a giant like bald head and stuff, like with hair on the side. He was kind of like Mr. Spacely in a robot suit. And there was
Spacely Sprockets.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
The evil toilet bowl monster. There was the toaster. He was this guy with a toaster on his head. He was my mob boss, and his main like right hand man was a deck of cards called Poker Face, and he used to fight with like spades and.
It sounds like it sounds like you've been taking a lot from the Tick, man.
That
was very right.
That or Duck Tracy.
You know what I'm saying? It's like very inspired pieces.
Yeah,
it could have been. I don't know. I mean,
hey, we all do it, right? We all did it.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, I did watch The Tick. I don't know who I created.
A character. The Tick was one of those cartoons.
Chairface
Chippendale was my favorite, man. I love that guy. The fact that he wanted to just write his name on the moon, that was his ultimate goal. And he only got the CH. He couldn't get it all the way. and what I did love about it was the fact that they kept it in continuity instead of just like, so whenever you got to see the moon, you saw the CH there. It's awesome.
I enjoyed Freakazoid.
I was about to say, oh my God.
Freakazoid. I love the Lobe.
Lobe as a villain.
Tim Curry when he was on there. Oh my gosh, with the Oregumen.
Oh, I gotta look this up. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I got
Akma, Wendell. Yeah. It's like Akma, Fatima, Wendell. Like just the way that he says it.
Tim Curry is such a gem, right? Mm-hmm. And I always think about the fact that he could have been Joker, and how would we have been if he was our Joker? You know what I mean? Because he was playing Joker. He was. I did see some of the videos of him playing Joker. So they did record audio tracks.
Was he doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show at that time?
No.
Is that why they?
No. This was after this. He was doing Joker during Batman He was going to be the Joker in Batman and the Animated Series, but for some reason or another he had to bail out, and then that's why they brought. That's why they brought in Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, right?
And then Mark Hamill, of course, as we know, it's killed it. But if you watch it, it sounds awkward because all you think is Mark Hamill now.
Yeah.
So Mark Hamill owned the character to that point, and Kevin Conroy, the late great Kevin Conroy, Bruce Timm, and all the other guys, they were all of them say the same things. Like Bruce, Tim Curry was fantastic. He was great. There was something about it that was very sinister about his Joker, and at the same time comedic. But then when Mark Hamill took it, is like he took it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think just thinking about Tim Curry being Joker, and if he would have been our Joker, how would have things been different? The what if scenario of it all. Would we have been thinking of it the same way? Because regardless of who it is, the animated series is by far one of the greatest cartoons of that time.
Yeah.
And it's like if it was Tim Curry, then we probably will be talking the same way about him as we do with Mark Hamill.
Right. Listen, Tim Curry and Izzy, I know you got to go.
Yeah.
Tim Curry. That's
too,
fine. I'd like to go to.
We got that 2-hour mark, right?
Yeah. Tim Curry is my favorite Captain Hook. I don't know if you remember Peter.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Pirates of the Caribbean. What was not the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Peter Pan and the Pirates.
No, he did a Pirates. It was Peter Pan and the Pirates. Was it? Yeah, I remember. I used to love it.
And the Ruby Spears cartoon.
Yeah, my favorite interpretation of Peter Pan and Captain Hook. And I think, and I'm just going to say it because of the way he played Captain Hook, I think he would have been similar as the Joker.
Yeah.
Just with a little more laughter in him.
Yeah.
It's that's.
But I will say this much: I don't think the dynamic between Curry's Joker would have worked as well with Harley
Batman.
Quinn.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
With
not
Harley
at all.
Quinn. With Batman, I think it would have been fine. But I think with a Harley Quinn, we probably would. Harley Quinn would have not sounded as good because there is a chemistry between Harley Quinn and Joker. In there, I forget. And I'm not talking about Tara Strong. Who did the first? Who did the original?
I can't remember her name now.
I can't remember.
She
Hold
was
on,
a soap opera actress.
let's look it up. Hold on.
Yeah.
I got it. First
But it
season
wouldn't
of-
have sounded as. It wouldn't have. I don't think it would have worked.
Series Harley Quinn voice. Let's see.
I remember she was on a soap opera.
Yeah.
I think she was on Days of Our Lives. That was like my mother's show, you know.
Sure.
I watched it too. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, growing up and like,
Arlene Sorkin.
yeah.
Yes, Arlene Sorkin. Yeah. I don't think it would have worked as well.
Yeah, it's different. You know, the actors they play off each other. It would have been different dynamics, and
Exactly.
and you know we may not have the Harley Quinn. I was going to say the Tara Strong because that's who I think of as her voice.
Yeah.
But
Still one of the most lovely voice actresses. I'm still dying to meet her. Oh,
I was at a
Met her
show
a few
she was at
times.
once. I haven't had a
Met her a
chance
few
to meet
times.
her.
Yeah.
is she?
Because
as
I'm not
nice
the type
Yeah.
guy
She's awesome.
to wait online.
I
But
would wait forever for her. Just
Melissa Rauch was Harley Quinn. That one shocked me.
yeah, she was pretty good in that one.
Yeah. That movie wasn't that good.
You know,
on the contrary, Rob Paulson singing "Don't Hold Your Love Out on Me" in that club, the best part of that movie.
Yeah, that movie was. It was all it was weird.
It was a dark Batman.
It was a
raunchy Batman.
Yeah, and
know,
that's what made it wrong.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys are gonna open up a whole other conversation. I know, like, you guys need to get going. I should get going myself. The only thing I will say about not just specifically that movie is it's DC or Warner Brothers, whoever you want to think of. I don't. They after the whole DC animated universe that Bruce Timm and created with Paul Dini ended, I don't think they knew what to do. They were trying to take the cues of, well, Marvel is this, we're going to go a little darker, we're going to be a little R-rated, we're going to be a little... And they don't get the idea of the DC heroes. The DC heroes, to me, there's light and there's dark, right? I don't mean like Batman, Superman being light, whatever. There was actual like heroism in the DC books. They were heroes. They were the idea of heroes. When you look at Marvel, Marvel's like, okay, we're going to give our guys issues, and Spider-Man has his allergies and all that crap that they do, right? There was a darkness to the Marvel books. There was a little bit more because everything took place in New York City. I would walk New York City. I know New York City. I could imagine that stuff happening, almost becoming reality. I've never been to the Daily Planet in Metropolis because it doesn't exist. I've never hung out in Gotham City or Hub City or any of those places there. I've never been to Bloodhaven. So by DC putting their stuff in this fictional world, they were able to create these characters until things started changing in the 80s that were like actual heroes you'd want to look up to. You know?
Well, that's that. You know, I said this in other shows that I've done. The problem I see with the current DC universe, whether it's animated or live action, the biggest problem is that, first of all, I honestly believe Zack Snyder messed it up. And not because people don't like Zack Snyder. There's things about Zack Snyder stuff that people like. But what he was doing was he was taking DC and turning it into Watchmen. Mm-hmm. That's how I honestly saw it.
I could see that, yeah.
Right? And as you said it, everyone was dark. DC really has one main dark character. Now, I'm not I'm not excluding characters like the Spectre or anything like that, because I put characters like him in the supernatural realm. So I think of it differently, right? But they have one character that's considered to be the dark side of superhero, and that's Batman. He's your vigilante of the group, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone else is supposed to be beloved. They made them that they weren't beloved, and it was Kurt Busiek and George Perez who I think did it the best. In Justice League Avengers, when the Avengers showed up in the DC universe, they were surprised to find out that everyone loved the superheroes. They thought that that people were being brainwashed.
Right.
That's the problem that's happening with DC as a whole. The characters are not. They're trying to Marvelize it when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Marvel's thing, I guess it's true. It was all about their problems, but with Marvel, it was more of an urban take to these superheroes. All of them were urban take, right? Spider-Man's from the Bronx, Captain America's from Queens, and now you got Miles that's in Brooklyn, and there is the X-Men are from Westchester County. All right, yeah, they're New Rochelle. They're from New Rochelle, man.
They hang out with Dick Van Dyke, okay?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was urban because that's how Stan Lee wrote them, right? He wrote them because he wanted to be familiar to it, made it easier for him,
and he knew it, like he lived it. So
so that and that's where the problems that we're facing today with the DC universe is that you're trying to make it more realistic than it really needs to be, and that's why people are not gravitating to it. They're not gravitating to these characters because they don't resemble the characters that they loved.
Right. Because kids don't believe in fantasy anymore. Kids don't believe in fairy tales. They don't believe in that stuff because we parents are telling them that they're not real. It's our fault. So we need to fix that. And I will say, I have been to Gotham City, by the way, Michael.
Great Adventure?
No, Lower Wacker in Chicago. Okay, I got lost in there. So, I've seen some crap. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
all right. I think I'm tapping out.
All right. Thank you for coming on, both of you.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Safe.
Yeah.
I don't plan to really go anywhere. I mean,
please. We got this freaking snowstorm coming in. Please,
we don't have that. We just got rain coming by us.
Yeah, I think rain's coming.
My new day job, well, it's kind of like mid-morning to late morning to evening now, is remote. So I almost never leave if I didn't have alternate side of the street parking where I live. I don't think
one of the reasons why I gotta wake up in the morning tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't start my job till 11:30. So you guys,
that's awesome.
Cool.
It was good talking to you. Thank you for
always
coming
a pleasure.
on.
Yeah.
I'll drop you guys if you want to hang out. If you want to go, that's fine. I'm gonna drop you backstage.
I'm dropping out, but
I'm gonna drop too.
But I gotta plug the awards again, guys.
Oh yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. The Izzy Awards. It's in the description. We'll make sure it's in the comments. Vote because it's good. It's just fun. Vote for the ones that are fun, but more importantly, the Kickstarters, the YouTube. If you want to vote for, hit that like and subscribe. You could vote for Michael Gracia, or you could vote for Izzyverse, or you could vote for any of the other guys that are in there because there's a lot of good guys in there.
Nominate
the Kickstarter. I'll get. You know what? Second annual. We'll talk about the animated shorts, right? Because it's. I'll definitely take some responses and some requests for the following year.
Hopefully
but this year was.
Wiz will have an animated short out.
Well, it is funny because it's like I go up and then when I finish doing it, I was like, oh man, I forgot about this guy, and that guy. I was like, oh man. But the reality of it is, it's just to have fun. We're gonna do something. I plan on doing it December 29th.
Mm-hmm.
That's next Thursday, so it's gonna be fun.
At 9
Post
PM,
it, share.
Guys,
9 p.m. Yeah, I made it a little later this time. Maybe Michael might show up for that one.
Yeah, I can't do anything before 9 p.m.
But we did it because I'm not working the next day either.
There you go. And Chucky Chicken on YouTube, guys. Chucky Chicken cartoons.
Yeah,
He's
on
awesome Patreon.
Funny stuff. Chucky Chicken.
You got my sub, by the way, Michael.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, so definitely. And the animation looks sharp, so I will say that much. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I just saw that just the stills look sharp.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, so lots of wonderful things coming ahead. So thank you, fellas. Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday, and I will see you next year.
Yep.
You will.
And as far as I go, Excelsior.
Bye-bye.
See you guys later.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. So that was the show. We went a lot longer than I thought we would. But you know what? It was a lot of fun. And for me today, having my sinus infection, um, really hiding it on the show here. But yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight. And I just felt kind of crappy all day with the sinus infection. And this really was a fun night. Kind of cheered me up. Kind of opened, gave me a little energy. So thank to everybody who came on. Tim Jones, Mike Belcher, Michael Cook, Anibal Arroyo, and the Izzyverse. You guys seriously go check out Izzy's stuff. It's Izzyverse, I believe NYC, or just look up Izzyverse on YouTube. The links to vote for the Izzy Awards are in the comments. Please, you don't have to vote for me, but it's always nice. So you can do that. But I will be back next week. I got an amazing artist coming on. Look for the promotions, but for now, everyone have a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate. I'm a Christmas guy, so Merry Christmas to you guys. I'll see you before the new year. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys. I know I'm on here long. Sorry, guys. I meant to hit something. It didn't work. Of course, that's my life. Here we go. I just want to remember the Wiz is coming back in the new year. This is not an official new Wiz strip, but it is a new Wiz strip because I drew it. You guys, thanks for watching. All right, guys. So long.